Stay tuned to the end to get a sneak peek at how I make my videos. This is the HTC One 0100 Hours 05 M9 and this is going to be my only phone for the next week. Put side by side with the M8, 0100 Hours 10, the M9 is definitely a smaller upgrade. So on the surface it looks very similar. You 0100 Hours 14 will be able to tell that the front-facing camera looks a little bit bigger and that 0100 Hours 18 the speaker's been slightly redesigned, but on the whole of it's a very similar 0100 Hours 22 looking phone. Around back, HTC has opted to drop their 4 ultra-pixel camera in favor 0100 Hours 27 of a new 20 megapixel sensor. Now in addition, this also means that you're going to be losing 0100 Hours 31, the duo camera, which to be totally honest is no real loss to me. It always seemed a 0100 Hours 36 little bit of a gimmick more than an actual feature. Alright, so today was day 2 with 0100 Hours 39, the One M9, and so far, so good. One thing that has been bothering me a little bit is 0100 Hours 43, the placement of the power button. So it's down on the right side below the volume rocker 0100 Hours 48 and it's in a little bit of an awkward spot, so I keep wanting to pick up the phone, and 0100 Hours 51 I accidentally keep hitting the power button. So it is a slight improvement over having 0100 Hours 55, the power button, on the top of the phone like on the M7 and the M8, but still it would have 0100 Hours 59 been nicer if it had been a little bit higher up. Alright, so now let's give the camera 102 a try. It's going to be storming here in a few minutes, so I don't have a lot of time. 106, so let's try to take a few pictures and videos and see what we can get. 112, oh look, that's overexposed, no. So it's saying it's focusing but it's actually not. You hear 117, this. It just makes that noise as soon as I touch the screen, but it actually is not 122 even like necessarily done focusing. You can get some decent pictures with the M9. It's 127, not the best camera out there, and I feel like it kind of has a lot of the same issues as 131, the M8, even though this has way more megapixels. It's okay, but I think the big deal is 136, the fact that the processing just is not that great. Now there are going to be some updates 140 coming for the camera soon, and hopefully that'll fix it, but right now it's a little disappointing. 145 with an 8-core processor and 3 GB of RAM, the One M9 is no slouch when it comes 149 to performance. However, there is one drawback to all this power, and that is the heat. Doing 153 everyday things like checking Twitter and watching video is enough to make the One M9 157 noticeably warm to the touch. Now it never really exceeded around 100 degrees as far 201 as the back temperature goes, but that's still a little bit on the warm side for a phone. 205, one thing I've really been appreciating are the boom sound speakers. Having 2 front-facing 209 stereo speakers that actually sound good is such a nice thing. I always forget about it 213 when I switch over to another phone and then pick up an HTC One and go, oh, right, this 217 is what a phone is supposed to sound like. I've been pretty easy on the One M9 battery 221 this week and it hasn't let me down. Now usually the big test is if a phone can survive a full 225 day when I'm traveling. Since that's not an option, I decided to run the One M9 as well 229, the One M8 and the new Galaxy S6 Edge through the PC Mark battery test. The results were 234, a little disappointing. So the M9 was able to last 5 hours and 8 minutes compared to 39 to 6 hours and 58 minutes for the M8 and 7 hours and 20 minutes for 242 the Galaxy S6 Edge. The M9 is still going to be enough for most people to get through 246 a day. However, if you're a little bit of a heavier user, it's a little bit worrying that 250 it's not only behind the Galaxy S6 but it's even behind the One M8 from last year. Looking 254 at the screen on the One M9, I think HTC absolutely made the right decision in keeping it 1080p 259. However, the color looks a little bit odd. It's a good screen that most people will have 303 no problems with. However, I did notice that it tends to be a little bit on the blue side, 307 especially compared to the M8. I'm typically more of a fan of stock Android, however I've 311 got to say that HTC has made some nice customized RTOs here. I appreciate things like HTC's Camera 316 app, which is a big step forward compared to Google's stock camera app. However, their 320 are also some weird things that Sense brings along, including some very bizarre quick settings 324 which have the text cut off, a little bit weirdly laid out. It's just a mess. The 329 HTC One M9 is a good phone, however it's not much of an upgrade over the M8. Put it side 334 by side with the Galaxy S6 and it just can't keep up. So what do you guys think? Let me 338 know in the comments below, and I've got to give a big shout out to VideoBlocks for making 342 this video possible. I use all kinds of gear when it comes to making my videos, from cameras 346 to computers, but one of the most useful tools I have is VideoBlocks. VideoBlocks is a subscription 351 service that gives you unlimited access to stock footage, backgrounds and After Effects 356 templates. If you've ever looked at buying stock footage for a video, you'll know that 359 it can get crazy expensive. I needed a few clips for a project a few months back, and 403 it ended up costing me like $300. With VideoBlocks you can get that 406 same 100% royalty-free content for use on places like YouTube, which can be massively 411 helpful for making videos you might not be able to do otherwise. You can start a free 415 7-day trial at the link in the description, so if you want to up your video game definitely 419, be sure to go check it out. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will 422 catch you in the next one.